back to the shop. So my little service cart finally showed up. Just picked it up yesterday, quickly threw it together this morning here. I think it's gonna work well. It's a little bit smaller than I wanted, but we're also fairly tight for space in the shop here, so I didn't want anything too big. We should be able to just stick it out of the way here when we're not using it. So I think that's gonna come in handy. We've had a little bit of snow here the other day. It's still pretty chilly out there, but I think we're gonna go out and drag the torch out and some tools and see if we can't get those exhaust manifolds off. Also picked up a little project here for my daughter. Wasn't planning on buying it. I actually just picked her up a go-kart last week, but couldn't pass up the deal on this. It's apparently not running the last year or so. Looks like it was left out in the rain for a little bit. Messed around with it a little bit this morning, got a few things freed up, and I think I'm gonna throw some fresh fuel in it and see if it'll fire up. But she should have fun with it, and when she's not around, I'm sure I will too. Cold start. Actually pretty nice with the sun out here. It's a little chilly, but we'll take it. All right, so we let her warm up a little bit there. I think I mentioned in the last video, I've been spraying these down with PB Blaster all week, spraying it in there, and it has been going somewhere. I don't know if it's making its way down the threads or if it's just flashing off, but hopefully that helps. Warmed it up here, and then I think we're gonna take the oxyacetylene torch and heat up the head and see if we can't break these free. This one here, I'm gonna have to pop this bracket for the steering box. It just holds the brake lines in there, so we'll pop that out of the way so that we can get in there with a breaker bar. And that back one, we should be able to get a breaker bar on it as well. It's gonna be tight, but should be able to squeeze in there. Don't know how far I'm gonna get with this today. Had a pretty brutal week at work. Most normal people would be relaxing today, but I wanted to get out here and get some of this stuff done. We'll get after it and see what we can do. Oh, she's moving, I think. Oh, she broke. No dice. I think it moved. Oh yeah, it's moving. Come on, baby. All right, so we got this one moving. That's the trick with these, is just to keep rocking it back and forth, heating it, spraying it, and just having some patience. Like this one here is going to come out. It's just going to take a while. As tempting as it is to just reef on it and go for it, don't do it. It won't end well. Hopefully this back one here comes out decent. It's a little tough to get to, but it's coated in oil well enough that hopefully it's not as seized as the rest of these. All right, so I've been working this back and forth here for just a couple minutes. I like using a wrench on here once you get them going. I just feel like I have better control of that. And these ones were, I think, originally 9/16, but we're using 14 here. The heads are kind of eroded away, and I think we got this one. If that was smart, I'd swap to my ratcheting wrench, wouldn't I? Success. So there's a couple little tricks here I've used over the years. I just heated that rear one up, and I like to let them cool for a couple minutes. If you go after it right after you've hit it with the torch, you risk the bolt snapping. It'll be a little bit soft. So I like to heat up whatever the bolt's going into, let it cool down for a minute, and then sometimes what I do as well is, once it's cooled off a little bit, I'll sneak some penetrating oil in there. You don't want to do this right away either. It'll just catch fire and burn off on you. And I think this can's just about empty. One other trick I learned over the years is candle wax. I actually did it on the 97 there when I put the headers on. If you heat up the hole, and then if you can manage to get a candle in there, get some wax down inside the threads, it actually works quite well, especially on studs. The ones that go into the manifolds there, you can quite often get those out with some wax and some heat. So a couple things you can try, but I think this one's cooled enough. We'll give it a go and see if this one will come out. Another trick too is give it a little tap if you can. Sometimes it just helps to break it loose. I'm doing the old double wrench routine here, and you got to be careful on these to make sure you're kind of going straight on the bolt. You don't want to be tweaking off to one direction or you will snap it off. So try and keep it as straight as you can. Oh, this one ain't gonna be easy, but if there's one I don't want to snap off, it's this rear one. It's a little tough to get to, but if we do snap it off, I'm gonna be pulling the steering box anyway, so we'll be able to get in there and weld the stud on. But I'm gonna keep working at this one and see if we can get her to budge. She moved. Eventually it'll go. At this point, neighbors are probably wondering, what the hell is he doing over there? More spray in there. As you keep working it, just keep spraying, and it helps to get it down into the threads there. Faster. And like I said in my last video there, this is actually how I came to love PB Blaster. I used it on the 97 there, and bolts that I didn't think were going to budge. This stuff certainly helped free them up. All right, put the wrench on there, see if we can.
I'm gonna have to take my sweater off. This is like hard work or something. All right, so I've been working this back and forth, spraying, working. And I know at first it'll seem like it's never gonna go, but eventually it comes to spot and it'll just break free. And this is so loose now, I could almost thread that out by hand, but success. Well, 2 out of 3 ain't bad, right? So we snapped this front one here, but it snapped pretty easy, so it may have been cracked already. That's one other thing. I got this one out and I put it back in right away. With these manifolds, they typically warp, so you don't want to take all the bolts out and then end up putting stress on the last bolt that's holding everything together. So if you do get them out, take them out, put them back in. I put some anti-seize on that so it thread in nice and easy. And like I said, this one here came out beautifully. Probably only took about a good solid 10 minutes, 15 minutes maybe. So it's worth the fight to get them out, because if you snap them off, it's often a lot more work and a lot more time trying to deal with a broken one. So take your time, and it'll pay off in the end. But I don't think this side's ever been out. The passenger side, it looks like that manifold's probably been replaced at some point. If these are anything like the 385 big blocks, they always like to crack and warp the passenger side. So I think I'll try and get the bolts at the flange loose here, and then this one should be ready to rock. Headers are on their way. They're supposed to be here first week of December, but with all of the shipping challenges going on right now with the flooding in the valley, this might be a little slower. My thoughts definitely go out to the people in the valley there. I don't know if any of you have seen the news, but we had a massive rainstorm here, and luckily where we are here, we fared pretty well, but some other people not so much. So I've got friends and family out that way, and I've heard some stories, and definitely not fun. So, and like I mentioned in one of my previous videos, oxyacetylene rig, if you can afford one, it's definitely a great investment, especially for projects like this. If you can't afford oxyacetylene, you can get the small little kits. I think Brinsomatic makes one with a set of little tanks. Never use those, but I've heard they're okay. Second to that, if you have to, just a MAP gas torch will sometimes get you by, and a small, propane torch. I've tried in the past, but don't even waste your time. You just can't get enough heat out of them to heat up large parts like this. I've got to do the valve cover gaskets on this truck. They're leaking quite bad, but as you can see in the video, I haven't changed them yet for obvious reasons. I'd end up melting them with the torch anyway. So once we get the headers on, we'll pull the valve covers off, clean them up, and throw the new gaskets on. And hopefully that should solve a good bulk of our oil leaks, because it's pretty wet back here. I suspect that the intake's probably leaking at the back there too, but we'll deal with that when we 4-barrel swap it. I don't want to pull this intake. It's a bit of a hassle on these trucks, but I haven't been able to source an aluminum intake yet. They're a bit tough to come by, especially right now. So, as far as the torch, I just run a number 2 welding tip on there. Gives a decent amount of heat, nothing too crazy, which is nice when you're working in tight areas like that. You don't want things getting too wild on you. I do have a cutting tip down there that I'll use for big stuff, but just have a bit more control with the number 2, and don't melt as much stuff either. So, all right, so now that we got that side all good to go, I think I'll go ahead and pull the inner fender on the passenger side. I'll just set the battery off to the side for now and see if we can't get that side done. Well, I don't exactly have high hopes for these bolts on my multi-piece battery tray, or lack thereof, but we'll give them a go, see if we can get them out of there. Well, looks like the rusty bolt gods are on our side today. This one here is so far gone, I had to
hammer an 11 mil socket on there. 1/2 inch that it was supposed to be is a little loose. So sometimes you got to do that, either go down a size or go flip orthometric and just hammer one on there, and we can get this out of here. All right, so I got the passenger side inner fender pulled out here, and we'll have a go at this side. Like I said, this one looks like it's been done fairly recently. It's got some grade 8 bolts in here too, so these ones here should be nice and easy with the nut and bolt, and I don't think these ones here are gonna be too bad either. So I'll give it a go first by hand, and if we need to heat them up, we will. She's still warm, so should give us a fighting chance. All right, let's try our luck here on these ones and see. Oh yeah, no problem. That one's gonna go. This one's gonna go. That one I can't get to. And that one's a 1/2 inch. Swap sockets here. That one's gonna go. All right, well, that's gonna be easy. So I know those are all gonna come out easy. I'm gonna leave it as is for now. I'm not gonna bother taking these right off until the headers show up. I still wanna be able to start the truck and move it around if I need to. A couple more weeks, those headers should be here. They're in Ontario right now, so if everything goes well, we might see them by end of next week even. Keep our fingers crossed on that. I do have a new starter coming as well. We're gonna swap out the old stock starter down there. We're putting in a Power Master, one of their mini high torque starters. It'll give us a little more clearance between the header. And as I'm sure you've heard in some of the videos, this old starter is getting pretty tired, so be a good chance to swap it out. Daylight's starting to fade pretty fast here, so I'm gonna head in, clean up, and we'll be back at it tomorrow. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.